Guys, welcome back to Content is Profit. Today we are part 2 with some YouTube changes. What's up, Fonzi? Welcome back.
What up, what up?
Yeah, last episode we kind of dove a little deeper into some of them. Maybe there's a part 3, of these changes. It's a good episode.
Let's be honest. There will probably be a part 3.
There will probably be a part 3. Anyway, so last episode, if you haven't checked it out, I'm checking here my notes. We talked about big collaborations. We talked about ABC testing, not only on your thumbnails, but also on your titles, and dynamic brand deals, different ways to bring more money into your content and into your platform. These are things that have been present in podcasting, obviously, but I think for YouTube, since a lot of people are starting to create content on YouTube or starting podcasts on YouTube, this is super important. So we went deep into all those 3. Go back to the latest episode, 599. Welcome to 600. Let's go. I don't know how to count. What's happening? What's up, Fonzi?
Honestly, I'm sure we're probably way beyond 600. Who's counting at this time?
Official 600, because I keep count, but I think published, because we've had some reruns, is like 650 or something. But anyways, who's counting?
You guys can probably see the change. Episode 1, no white hairs here in the beard. Episode 600.
Yes.
Beard on a daughter.
Oh, that's with you. Okay. I thought me. Who has more beard? Look, that might be like a cameo thing. Look at that. Okay. Anyways. Okay. We're distracting. Let's go. All right. The next thing that I have here on my list for these YouTube changes is auto dubbing. You'll be able to have your YouTube auto dub and lip sync. This is important. Into other languages. So what do you think about this? And I'm going to explain a little bit. YouTube is going to, let's say if you record it in English, it's going to also show it in the languages that you pick. For example, Spanish. Until now, you could do that, but your lips kept moving in English. So it was like a disconnecting content. Now the platform is actually going to match your lips with the auto dub.
Yeah. So, obviously that AI technology has been, it's going crazy. 11 Labs, I feel like, is the brand that comes to mind, that they do a lot of incredible voice work with AI, but now you can, you have the text to speech, the voice to voice, all that stuff that's going on. I will tell you, this is my personal impression. I've had it on social media where somebody creates content in Spanish, and I see it on my feed, and just because of most of my feed and my settings are in English, it like auto dubs it. It's so trippy. Like, it is kind of weird. And there are some moments where like the motion of the mouth, just like it doesn't really like quite fit in there. Now that being said, I think it's obviously a great tool for, obviously getting exposed to new audiences in different countries. From the business standpoint, then the question would be, okay, well, if that happens, how do you, from the YouTube standpoint, you could potentially have revenue from views, right? AdSense revenue. But if you're trying to sell the product, are you actually able to sell that product and fulfill in those other languages that this thing is like auto dubbing? Would you have to dub all your content and all your resources and that? So that is a challenge.
Yeah.
There is definitely a big benefit on the exposure side of things. Mr. Beast was doing it for a while, right? He was hiring people to dub his videos and so he's going to be saving a whole bunch of money in there. But again, he's on the entertainment side of things. It makes a lot of sense for him. The more views he get, the more revenue he makes, the better videos he can make on his end. For, small business owners, medium-sized business owners that also, are creating content on their platform, how does that translate?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that, obviously, depends on like who your audience is or like who are you talking to, right? Because I just had a conversation with Kathy that came here in the studio, one of the shows that run here. And like, she is telling me that she created a whole clone of herself and like the English doesn't sound quite perfect. And we have our views on AI cloning, and maybe that's another episode that we do down the line. But one of the things that I told her was like, why don't you test it out? Like send that, piece of content to somebody that's close to you, send it and somebody that's like in your industry, maybe your ideal audience member and see what they say. Cause she's like, she doesn't speak quite like me. Of course it's not. It's AI at the end of the day. Right. Yeah. But the difference might be marginal for somebody that doesn't know you. And I had the same experience the other day with like a Spanish YouTuber that I follow. He goes to like these player houses and they spend the day together and they kind of share, what a little bit of behind the scenes. And initially, like the video showed in English. I'm like, wait, what is this? But the voice was very similar and it was really close on like his style of doing it. And I thought it was really interesting, but obviously I listened to him in Spanish. So for me, I just had to change it because like that's the creator that I'm looking. But for somebody like for a first impression in a different country, for example, for podcasters, like you say, you mentioned Mr. Beast, he spent thousands of dollars dubbing and he had a very clear strategy because in the international markets, it's very common to watch a movie being dubbed, right? So there's certain voices that you recognize. For example, Mr. Beast chose in different countries the voice of the actor that does Spider-Man because it's a very popular voice that is in many movies. So like he's playing also to kind of the psychology of this. But now let's say you record this one podcast and you do have an international audience content wise, I think it's going to help you reach new audiences in that specific topic, right? But let's say entertainment videos, like depends on the type of content that you create. I think this has a use case. It will be really interesting. It's almost like we send this podcast dubbed in Spanish to our friends. Of course, they're all gonna, or the people that know us that we know Spanish, they're gonna be like, "What is this? Like, what are you guys talking about?" Right? Yeah. But I think for somebody new, right? Like if we do Spanish podcast and then that's dubbed in English for that new audience in English, that would be interesting, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely the whole. I already put in the effort. I don't have to create it again in a different language to reach these people. But again, for me, on the business standpoint, personally, it doesn't really quite make sense because we serve people in English, right? That is or primarily our audience. Could we serve people in Spanish? Yes, absolutely. But at the end of the day, or service in English, the resources that we've created are in English. Everything. So to have somebody in Spanish come and be like, "Hey, can you guys help me out?" Maybe because of the nature of our service, it won't be too much of a problem. But let's say we were selling a course or we were selling the community, right? And they don't know English. Like that actually wouldn't really help. I mean, you can put them in your email list and all the stuff, right? Have them be an asset on your business. But again, not on the entertainment side, I'm struggling to see too much of the value of it. I do want to make a parenthesis before we go to the next point. I know what client you're talking about with the AI clone. She's part of the 5-day challenge. If you want some clarity on your content, go to bizbros.co/monetize. We have a free 5-day one-on-one challenge where we help you strategize and get some clarity on your content, how to move forward with it. So again, go to bizbros.co/monetize. Now, my content about this AI clone. I lead with, I mean, we've talked about it. I'm like, I'm personally not a big fan. And I think the challenge will be, imagine somebody just posts a whole bunch of AI content and then I meet you in real life or I jump on one of your office hours, whatever. And there's no congruency on like who you are. I meet you in real life and I'm like, this is not the person that I met on the videos. That is immediate lack of trust, right? So this is what I would do if I was on her shoes, my own personal opinion. Lead with honesty. I would create a page that would be called your name. So Fonzi AI. And the description would be an AI avatar of Fonzi sharing his ideas, right? And his resources, etc. And then a little caution, this is not the real Fonzi. If you want to know the real Fonzi, go check him out over here. But now people know the ideas are mine. I'm just delivering effectively through an avatar. I
like that idea a lot.
On that end.
No, 100%. I mean, that's, I think obviously I think along the same line of we were having the conversation this morning. She had obviously she's speaking in an AI, the Gear conference in not so long. And what she wanted to do was kind of put her AI version to introduce her as a hook to the presentation, and obviously show this tech, which I think is super interesting. We have friends of the podcast like Diego, right? His whole company, part of it is creating AI avatars to answer questions and be on social. But I do say that ethically, like, how do we actually, use these resources? Because those are questions that are going to happen. At the end of the day, are we thinking, short-term views, vanity metrics versus long-term success for the business? And at the end of the day, it's like, imagine people like watching the AI and was like, I really want to hang out with like more Fonzi AI versus like real Fonzi. I think that's going to be like, I like them better. Last night I was watching a Disney movie, Elio, I think it's called. It's like the little kid that goes to space or got abducted by aliens. And there's a part in the movie where he creates a clone of himself. And this clone is, spoiler alert for those that haven't watched the movie. Basically, the clone goes to Earth to hang out with Elio's aunt, right? To kind of make sure that she doesn't, feel, but she can tell it's something weird. It's something strange, right? She starts to suspect. And there's nothing like the real you. At the end of the day, they meet again together in this like redemption arc. But at the end of the day, same thing. There's another scene with another clone. And the daddy's like, I know your customers will know. So might as well freaking put it up front and tell them, hey, like this is AI, like this is based on our ideas, based on our frameworks. I think that's a really cool case study. So if anybody wants to like go try it out, go ahead.
Here he goes, leveling it up even. I'm going to put, I think it's been a while since we've thrown these wild ideas out there, but now there's also, that whole movement of clipping, right? Clipping is not just getting your video and get some clips and put it on your own account. Clipping is kind of like what Andrew Tate was doing, and a lot of the real like people that has a lot of resources are doing, which is they're constantly filming long form, tons of B-roll, tons of lifestyle footage, and they organize everything. And then they have communities of editors, right? I mean, tens, sometimes hundreds of editors that they each create an account and they make their edits and they post it, and then they get
under
paid.
Their own rules, no guidelines, no whatever. They just looking at exposure.
And they get paid by RPM, right? Revenue per mile. So, some people have different rules, but they're like, we'll pay you $200 for every 500,000 views that you get. Not on a single video, right? It can be on when you hit 500,000 views, you get paid the $200 or whatever. Obviously, those charges change. So imagine doing that, a clipping army with AI content. All right, I think it wouldn't be bad. And now there's also the N8AN, right? It's like an automation platform. I'm sure you can probably automate a lot of this process from you putting your ideas, the AI being, creating everything, some editing, and then posting it into multiple accounts or having, again, your clipping army going on.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that idea is kind of wild, and not caveat, but I would totally hate that idea if there wasn't the honesty part of it, of like, hey, these are AI avatars sharing the ideas of this person.
Yeah.
Would it be less effective than the real thing? Yes, 100%. I think it would be way less effective, because part of that strategy is the fact that it looks like fan accounts of these people, making all these clips and all that stuff. So if it is AI, I'm just saying up front, I think it would be a little less effective. But close parenthesis, let's get back to it.
All right. So there is a few more updates that we can share, right? And obviously there's a ton of live updates, but I'm going to go through a list and we can kind of chit chat quickly about each of them. So I'm going to list them up and then we can pick and choose. Cool. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, cool. So we have Ask Studio, we have AI clipping, we have, lip reanimation, which is what we just talked about, Inspiration Lab, Collaboration Tool, which is the main one that we talked about, Hype, AI B-roll for podcast, and co-streaming. Which one do you want to talk about first? We're going to touch on maybe a few.
I would have to see the results from AI B-roll, but what I'm imagining right now, thumbs down.
So so the example I saw, it actually made a lot of sense. And it's like that how they positioned it on the video was like, it is not as good as actual real B-roll, but it's better than the audio waves that have been going on for the last like 15 years.
Yeah, but I think I'm not seeing it from the point of audio waves. I'm seeing it more from the point of view of, is it better than stock footage? And my take is going to be, it probably is very similar, or it looks like stock footage.
If we have a scale, right, from like audio waves to like legit like planned B-roll.
Audio waves is not a B-roll, first of all.
Okay, let's talk about the visual experience of a podcast, right? Like, let's say it's audio only. Obviously, these are tools designed to bring people into more visually, appealing type stuff. So it also depends on like the quality of like what you're talking about. Like if you are actually, describing the situation the best way possible so AI can pick it up. Obviously, if we're talking about ideas or frameworks or, versus I'm telling a story. If you're telling a story, I think it's going to be a lot easier, the result that they get there. And if the producer or the show doesn't have resources to be able to produce that visual asset, right? Maybe YouTube can support there, and it's better than not having a visual asset, right? That's what I mean.
I mean, stock footage B-roll is going to be better than no B-roll at all, 100%.
Okay, but if you don't have if you don't have a video editor,
that's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. Like, stock footage, meaning AI B-roll, is going to look like stock footage. I am very certain of that, right? And I might be wrong. If I'm wrong and you're listening to this and you're like, bro, this Fonzi dude is a stalker. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And you have a great example of it, send it to me and we can fight it out till the death. No, I'm kidding. But hear me out. I was actually just talking to one of the new editors that we're onboarding on the team. We were talking, I'm coaching him through the editing process. And one of the things we were talking about, the tier of B-roll. Like, what is okay B-roll? What is great B-roll, right? And the best one you can use is if you have B-roll of yourself, you yourself in the image. That is absolutely the best B-roll you can have. Obviously, within the confines of quality, right? You're not going to have B-roll that looks like, I don't know, recorded with a Nokia blue soap, and then you put it out there. Like, it has to be, good quality B-roll of yourself. That is top notch.
I agree to disagree on that side.
Is things below that is like, what can people visualize? Can you borrow somebody's influence to add into your B-roll? Can you use, movie clips of, again, but the whole idea is to illustrate also what you are talking, just like you said, right? And then lastly, the bottom is the stock footage. For it is what it is, we can debate if you want, bro. Bring it on.
No, my only asterisk there is different people have different standards, and for them, 100% it's good enough or exciting versus what we can call quality. Right, at the end of the day, that's the battle in creative always, right? So, what I'll say to the listener.
I summarized my perspective in 30 seconds when this was like a 30-minute session I did with the editor, and like we broke down obviously like B-roll based on like types of shots and all that stuff. There's a lot to it, but I agree. Everybody, it's subjective. At the end of the point, it's a little bit subjective.
What I don't want. Here's my. I agree with you, by the way. Like, obviously, we're, tech nerds, like higher quality, looking good. Like, obviously, we've played with different things. We own a freaking podcast studio. People come here for expecting, a certain bar in quality. But I also feel for those creators that might not have access to resources like that. And I don't want it to sound like if you don't meet certain standards, you should not be posting. Quality of the message over quality of the production, and then elevate. And I know that's not what you said. It's just like it could come across where like when we talk always
get it right, bro.
but like I think in general when we talk about quality, right? Like people will find the path of least resistance, right? So if the creation process is taxing because we have to talk about the message, we have to talk about, the structure of the episodes or the videos, and then on top of that you add, well, I don't have the right equipment for this. Doesn't matter, dude. With your phones today, like you can create incredible stuff. So I don't want that to be 100%. A friction point for creation process. That's all. That's like, it's not a jab on you. It's just a jab in general in the industry because we've seen it.
It's a great reminder. It's a great reminder. Yeah. Decrease the friction. Make sure you're actually putting the content out there. Your first thing is not going to be perfect. It never is going to be perfect because you're always going to be like, it can be better. I can improve it. But again, from the standard points of how can it be done better?
Yeah.
And this is my personal belief. I don't think the resources are actually that much different if I decide to look for some stock footage online and decide to record myself from a wide angle. Let's say we're talking about recording a podcast. The effort of me going online and looking for a B-roll stock footage might be actually the same amount of effort that it takes for me to move my tripod and put it, on a different angle and sitting down and recording that. So again, I don't think the change is too crazy, but to your point, 100% agree. Decrease the friction. Done is better than perfect.
Look, I think there's so many elements there, and I get your point, and I agree with you. But that's assuming that people want to record in their house, right? That there's people that produce content that like, dude, I just don't want to show my house, or I don't have an office to go to. Like we see that all the time. So again, based on your resources, what you have
right there.
No, it's not nuance. We live it here. We have a close-fi couple that comes to records here, and I've been begging them for like months to be like, guys, you need more frequency because your episodes are so good. People need this information, but they're so hung up because like where they like their home doesn't have a space for them that they feel comfortable to record, right? Like it's not nuance. Like it's very real for a lot of people, but at the end of the day, it's like, yes, I mean, if you have the option to do both. Let's say we assume the environment is like you can do that and you have to do both. 100%. I'm with you. But for a lot of people that listen, there's so many elements that are there. So like you gauge it, like you listening right now, you gauge what are you comfortable sharing, right? In my house, there's, an unwritten rule that I cannot just go out around with a camera showing everything, right?
but that's why I'm saying it is nuance, right? Because like, there's no one perfect path for like, it's not one size fits all solution. Like everybody's circumstances is going to vary slightly. And that's when it becomes, you have your set of constraints.
Your process. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. And, some of those might be constraints that you might not be controlling, but some of those are self-imposed constraints 100%. So it does look different for everybody. Yes. And that's why I started the previous statement with, in my opinion, very subjective. But let's move on to the next point. Because obviously, I think this topic can extend a lot. I think the value here is for people to get that done is better than perfect. Get it done. You need to publish it.
I think you need to see the example. When I saw it, I was like, it's way better than I expected. That was my thought process.
Better than an audio wave. Anything is better than an audio wave.
No, that example came later. But like when I saw it in my mind, I was like, this is gonna be crap. And when I saw it, I was like, it's actually decent. But
right,
anyways, I want to do. Let's do Ask Studio and Inspiration tab. So Inspiration tab is something that's already present there where you can like see some ideas, but they're like really going deep into different ideas. And together with Ask Studio is almost like an AI agent that is surfing YouTube and your podcast to make it, or your videos to make it a lot better. So they'll make suggestions on thumbnails. They'll make some suggestions on titles. They'll like see where people are falling off, and you can ask the agent, be like, hey, where are people stopping to watch the video and why? And it's like that specific that you can go and get answers so you can get better for your next video, which is also a lot of the education, that will have to happen like after. What's a debrief after a video, for example? Like what are the questions that we should be asking to get better?
Yeah,
I think that's a powerful tool.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, when you tell me, you're asking this thing, where's people stopping to watch my video, what it kind of looks like more is, because that information's already out there, right? If you go on the creator studio and you click on a video and you look at the analytics, you can see exactly the drop of rates where people are missing. And now the cool thing, I think the addition to it is the more, ChatGPT style of AI feedback, right? And they have big knowledge, huge database probably of information, and they can give you some pointers, which I think is great, rather than you going in and be like, okay, here's a drop of rate. Why did it happen? You get that insight from the company, which is huge, right? But again, that information, like even if you don't have that information is there. I do like the inspiration idea. We use vidIQ. There's something similar in there. I mean, we talk about it, especially in the 5-day free challenge. So if you want to join, bizros.co/monetize, but we talk a lot about research, right?
I mean, there's two lenses that we can look through. Like here, obviously, I think we're both considered power users, right? Or power consumers, power users. So like we play with every single tab in there and kind of know where to find that information. But there's a lot of people out there that don't, right? Or maybe they're busy, right? And I'm talking to the creator right now that might have a business, right? They have their admin stuff, they're fulfilling, they're also creating, right? And they might not have the resources to go and do this. I think this is an incredible tool because it gives you speed. It tells you the answers, right? Without knowing the technicalities of it. I mean, just a couple of days ago, I jumped on a call with another of our agency customers, right? And they had a little bit of a creative block. They weren't feeling well, so that all plays into it. Oh, hold on.
Where you go, bro? Where'd you go?
Where did I go?
The camera disappeared. Well, here, while you fix that up.
We're back.
All right.
For those watching or listening, I'm trying a new setup with a new camera, so apparently it can go too low without.
You moved my camera, by the way, so I'm just gonna.
Dude, stop moving. Okay, here we go. Okay, perfect. Back to the live days. Always experimenting setups. But anyways, they were having a little creative block. And in my mind, it was like, well, this is so easy. Why don't we find like a question in a community of people that you serve? And then we grab that question and we answer it. That's an episode. Or we can grab that question and prompt ChatGPT, for example, to give us, different takes on these questions, or there other secondary or third type of questions where you can go. And we did like a whole flow of it. And, something that was second thought for us was like, oh, if we don't have a topic, maybe this is a default way to do it. For that person was mind blowing. And in our skill level, that might have been a 1, but for them, that changed the whole world. And then she texted me like an hour later. It's like, I've been playing with this framework, these 2 prompts that you gave me. I found a ton of questions. And now I have like 30 episodes that I cannot wait to go record, for example. Right. So again, there's, the platform kind of bridging that gap between super technical to like, hey, now I can have a conversation and the platform can also give me suggestions on how to get better so everybody wins. I think it's huge, dude. I think it's huge.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, these are tools, right? And I looked up the definition here of tool. A device or implement used to carry out a particular function, right? Like each one of these things is helping you with a function that it would take resources, right? Whether that is money with third-party software or your own time scrolling through YouTube, figuring it out, going through the analytics. And it's pretty much releasing these tools to facilitate the creator, the consistency for them to make it easier to create more content. Why? Because the more content that gets published in the platform, right? Probably the more home runs of a content, more people stays watching, more money they make. So I think it's great. Now, the thing is going to be how good are these tools? How good are going to be these recommendations, right? Because not all the tools are going to be not all the tools are going to be great, right? Like I mentioned, we use vidIQ, and I probably only use about 20% of what they offer because I think those are the most valuable parts, the ones that actually give me results. But they have like a thumbnail generator. I'll be honest, vidIQ, if you watch this, you guys got to work on your thumbnail generator. It's not very good. So those type of things, right? So it's like, what is, if you are, let's say, because I feel like we've been tackling this conversation from a couple different points of views, but you mostly are talking to that creator that might be a solo creator or a very small team. The question I would ask myself if when I go into this and you're going to have a bunch of tools and you might be overwhelmed is, what is the tool that is going to give me the best value right now, and just focus on that, right? So if the tool is, I would say, is probably the generating the idea one would be the best tool at the moment, because you probably are looking for quality, proven ideas that can reach more people, right? And again, asymmetrical effort. We've talked about that before. Put your effort where most people see it. Most people will be seeing your thumbnail, your title, your idea, rather than how you edit the whole content, right? Now, once you catch their attention, your new problem becomes, okay, how do I retain that? But as a small creator, you got to keep it the least amount of overwhelm that you can. And how do you do that? With focus on one single part of this. You don't need to dub all your videos, right? You don't need to doing AI B-roll on all of your videos. Focus on one thing that's gonna have the most amount of leverage in your process right now, is gonna help you with your objective of staying consistent, and then just stick to that for a little bit.
Yeah, which, by the way, guys, in Business Creator, the club, we have a mini training on 6 levers. Yeah, that was a drop mic moment, Fonzie. Good job. But I would encourage you to go through the 6 levers and kind of bucket your execution in those 6 categories. Like, one is the creation ideation, right? Which is what Fonzie said. Quality of the message initially. Then is like, okay, how do I actually create it? The actual environment. We talked about that again today. Then you have the production. It's like, once I get the people, how do I produce something that people want to watch type deal, right? Like, what does that final product look like? And then we can go into distribution. How do you monetize? And then how do you manage all that? So there's a quick mini training that's included as soon as you join in Business Creator Club. Or you can also join the challenge, bizrosa.co/monetize, and Fonzie can help you with a specific problem to move the needle forward. So those 2 have been our resources, if you want to be in a group environment versus if you want to be on a one-on-one environment. And it's been so fun so far. And I think there's a few wins in there that have been happening. So I'm going to mention the last 2 because we do have to go. We have another call, but here's the quick version of it, right? Co-streaming and hype. Co-streaming is basically, you can actually, these big networks call it ESPN, for example, is going to be broadcasting a football game, and we can co-stream based on that feed without being penalized. So you can comment on that. I love
like soccer games. We can actually stream part of the soccer game.
You can stream the full game, and we can be the commentators in there. So now, I think
that is good.
That's legit. Massive, especially for, that new type of sports commentators or gaming commentators or like any kind of thing. I think that's going to be huge. Especially
I'm going to guess, this is my guess probably, sorry to interrupt it, but I think it's a huge benefit for getting exposure, but people are going to start getting upset because I'm going to go with the monetization is going to go obviously to, let's say, ESPN, right? If you're streaming there, because they got the rights at the end of the day.
They didn't touch it on it. They didn't touch on it. I don't think so. I think they're going to reward the creator, because if not, there's no motivation to do it. I don't think so. We can go deep into that once it is released. We can do some testing with the football show. I'm excited. But anyways, and then the last one really quick is hype. Is almost like an upvote system like Reddit has. So each user will have 3 hype votes a week, and you can hype up whatever videos from your favorite creators and then kind of push it a little bit more than in general.
So it's like a super like type of...
It could be. I don't know. I haven't seen it in action. That it was a very quick, brief thing. So what I imagined initially was this like secondary market, people selling their hypes. Or buying hypes. Like, I'm buying 100 hypes.
Somebody's going to be creating hundreds of accounts with a whole bunch of hypes, and then they're going to sell those for sure.
Yeah. Anyways, exciting topics. I can't wait to see this how it plays out. If you're in YouTube or podcasting and you're doing audio and video and like you're experimenting with these things, and just let us know what are some of the things that you're finding out. Again, connect with us in businesscreator.club. Come join. I think there's a code in the checkout gives you 30 days for free. Come hang out. And then also with Fonzi on the bistro.co/monetize, you can do the one-on-one challenge if you want a little bit more of attention with your stuff. Fonzi, anything else before we head out?
I was just thinking, I think I need to create some sort of jingle for the one-on-one challenge. I think it'll be
AI generated, or you're gonna play it with your guitar lessons?
I gotta do it, dude. Where's the joy on generating something like that with AI? I think part of the joy is
the procrastination song.
With the idea.
Bro, the procrastination song was great, and it was created by AI. It performed by me, but created by AI.
Well, if you would have created it yourself, I would have been like, damn, now it's even better. It's good, but now it's even better because I know you
we bridge the gaps.
We
bridge the gaps. All right.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not useful, but if I create something like that, I would like to create it myself. I think that'd be a lot of fun. I know I'm putting more friction on myself, but let's do it. Let's get out of here. Thank you for listening.
See you in the next episode. Yes, sir. Take care. Bye.